Welcome to another BattleGoat Studios developer vlog. I'm George, and today I snuck into the studio without Chris here so I can talk about something that often makes his eyes roll when I talk about it with him beside me. And this is going to be talking about our plans for the AI. And one of the reasons this does make Chris's eyes roll is often our plans for the AI don't always match what gets into the game or how the AI acts once it's programmed into the game. So today I'm going to talk about our plans and our hopes, and being early access, when some of these things get implemented in the next few weeks, you can see how much of things actually worked out or not. If this video suddenly gets deleted, then you'll know maybe things went a little bit differently than what we had planned. But we are getting a lot of questions about the AI, and as our roadmap says, AI development is something that we're doing a little bit after some of our other tasks. Our most important tasks are getting a solid game engine, working on some of the new 64-bit and DirectX 11 elements, working on the new user interface elements. So those are all important things. Some of the data structures that are underneath that you don't see are very important. And once those are in place, then we can start working on how the AI plays the game. Another important part of how the AI plays the game is we have to play it a little bit ourselves too. So we have to start getting onto land battles, getting into space, colonizing, attacking, and so on, and I'll get back to that. Yep. So one of the things about doing the AI is we had to start playing the game ourselves. We had to start doing land battles, multiplayer battles, start colonizing space, exploring, and so on, working on the mechanics and developing them. Obviously. You got to give me a couple of minutes because I'm doing a recording, and then I'll be in after that, okay? And so one of the elements of developing the AI is we had to start playing the game ourselves. We had to start doing land battles, getting into space, exploring, colonizing, and working on those mechanics. Obviously, if we started working on the AI and then changed the game mechanics underneath its feet, we would have wasted a little bit of time. And so now that more of the mechanics are in place and we're developing more of the tech tree and the units and the units' capabilities, now we are starting to shift our focus. Stop that! Do you want me to start right back at the AI, or yeah, probably.
We're never going to finish this video.
Playing the game ourselves. We have to get the game mechanics of. So one of the challenges in developing the AI is that we had to start playing the game ourselves first. So we had to start playing battles on the planets. We had to start exploring space. We had to start playing multiplayer games. Obviously, if we start changing the mechanics as we fix the game engine, then if we train the AI to play a certain way and then the game changes, we'd have to go back and work on the AI again. So that would not only be a waste of time, but there's also a lot to understanding how the game is played. From the very early days of when we developed Supreme Lord 2010, we developed the game engine first, and then we had multiplayer games in our studio with the 4 or 5 of us developers, bashing it out late into the night, and our strategies that we learned in multiplayer games were what we used when we developed the AI. Some of the challenges that always exist with AIs for strategy games are things like how hard to make it. Chris often says an AI should almost win, because if an AI is too dominant and takes over the player very quickly, players get discouraged. If an AI is a pushover, then players don't like that either. So it's a very challenging balance to make. Sometimes many of our AI features, when they're not apparent to the player, players either think the AI cheats, and Supreme Lord AIs never cheat, or the player thinks that the AI might be using unfair information, or they just don't understand why things are happening. So those challenges remain. But what are we going to work on first? In the case of Galactic Ruler, some of our things like land-based battles, the AI is already there. We just have to teach the AI to understand, nations are different, the planets are smaller, certain things we have to work on. Space is obviously completely unknown to the AI. So as you play Galactic Ruler right now, the AI will build spaceships, and the spaceships will just sit there going, duh. So we're going to try to work on getting those original first steps going. Surveying your system, surveying other planets, that's one of our next steps. Getting the AI to start using FTL to survey the systems in its surroundings, that's another step that's coming up. And in general, getting the AI to engage and discover the world around it. This means things like great space battles are still going to be more the realm of humans right now. The AI is going to build some very effective units because it's going to use the tech tree, it's going to use the equipment list, and it already does some of that, and we're tuning that piece. But as far as expecting the AI to put together grand fleets of Battlestar Galactica style of battles with carriers and fighter craft, those are still in the future. We're going to still be developing our multiplayer human capabilities and understanding what space battles are going to be like before we can get there. But in very short order, expect this AI to start jumping out into space, exploring the systems around it. And this also means that your governor AIs of your planets and colonies can also take advantage of this, and you can automate that. So if you don't want to be sending your ships one by one around to explore planets and explore systems, you'll be able to automate that and have the minister use the AI to do that as well. So look forward to these changes coming in the next few weeks as we continue loading new things on Fast Track. Again, sorry, some of our changes are slower than we had hoped. Apparently there's a plague going on, and that's really affecting some of our ability to turn out Fast Track builds as quick as we were hoping. But we definitely have a great team working very hard to get you some new content very soon. Keep in touch and see you in the next video.